So notice as I'm moving the length of these around, making sure that I keep the tail, because even though I make them shorter, I might want to at some point make them longer. I don't want to go like this, bounce it, and then the track is edited like that. I want to have freedom to be able to make them shorter and longer as I want. And one of the first things I do is I'm going to go, because these are stereo samples, right? See here, just from the level, the left channel is louder than the right, and they are playing two different waveforms. For all of my percussion, I like to keep it mono. And of course, you don't have to do that. This is just my way of working, and I especially do that because I want my kick and bass to be in mono, of course, and then I want my cymbals to also be at mono. And then that just leaves room in the stereo spectrum for all of the sounds. Because as you'll see later, I like to make every single sound that I'm using, of course, besides the kick and bass and the percussion, I like to make them all stereo and widen them and have ping pong delays and reverb. And keeping everything else mono just leaves a bit of extra space for that stereo image to really come through and make the sounds sort of stand alone, you know? So I like to think of preserving that sort of stereo spectrum by making what I don't need to be in stereo completely mono. Okay, cool. So in order to make these sounds mono, I'm going to go up here to audio. I do have a shortcut for this, which is S, but show you how to do it on Cubase processes, stereo flip. So what stereo flip by default does is just flip the left and right channel. What I could do is I could merge them, right? And that's going to make both channels the same on the left and right. But what happens with this is it's going to combine both of these signals from the left and right. And it could create some sort of phasing issues, you know, because it's just combining these sounds. It's kind of the same effect as if you listen to something that is very stereo on a mono speaker. It's not really going to sound right. So instead of merging these channels, I'm just going to go left to stereo. Okay, so you can see that it happened there just by clicking this. And what Cubase does is when you process a audio on its own, obviously there's nothing on the inserts here on the channel. When you process this very audio, it actually kind of links these plugins onto this clip. And by pushing F7, I can see all of my plugins, which are now on this clip. So just out of habit, I don't want to leave that on there, because when I duplicate this, however many hundreds or maybe thousands of times, that plugin is going to stay attached to this clip. So right from the start, I'm just going to bounce that. And I've made sure to leave a tail so that I can make the clip shorter or longer as I like. Okay, so let's just do the same to the other one. Left to stereo. Let's make sure it's actually done it. And just solo that, and I'm going to make sure that the levels are the same on left and right. Bounce that. Okay, so now we can start to lay out our hi-hats. So I'm just going to duplicate these into 16ths. I don't want this sound to overlap other hi-hat. That doesn't make sense for me. Both of these, a closed hi-hat and an open hi-hat, is playing at the same time. Maybe in some cases it can help with the sort of groove and the rhythm, but if you think about what you're actually doing here, it's like an impossibility that someone would be playing an open and closed hi-hat sound at the same time. So I'm just going to take that out. It will also then sub and create like a spike when these two are playing together, and that's definitely something I want to avoid. So I'm just going to take that off. I'm then going to slide these. So this, I'm working now with the quantized with the use quantized snap to grid on 32s. I normally kind of always have it set to that, unless I'm doing something super zoomed out. But instead of turning this off, which is the snap on and off, and then having to turn it back on, I can just hold control. That'll let me slide it off the grid as I like, and it's just a much more efficient way to work. if I'm moving this and I hold control, then it's going to be off the grid. So let's just hear how this sounds quickly. Okay, I'm just going to shorter and just roll off the end a little bit. Okay, just immediately I can hear that this one is a little bit too soft. So now with everything playing, because I've made everything mono, you can see the master is completely mono. So this is all now being sent to this percussion group. So I can just play with the volume here and try and get it to match more or less what I want. Definitely some sounds in these hi-hats that I want to take out, some frequencies. So let's go and look at that.